Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my podcast, A Happier You Leads to a Healthier You. I'm your host, Goddess Asha Mariama. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I have Miss Stacey Nye. I love her because she basically taught me something that's called the fixed code. It's a meditation that helps you to relinquish all of these negative things that are holding you back from your greatness, the things that keep you stagnant and keep you just, I say, like Humpty Dumpty when you sit on that wall and then you don't know if you're going backwards, whether you're going forward. And she's also helped so many Olympians when it came to their journeys during the Olympics. Thank you so much, Stacey, for being here with me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Just so you know, I didn't help in the Olympians doing the fixed code. I was director of operations for venues and stuff like that at the Olympics. So it was a totally different world. I didn't meet the fixed code until about 15 years ago. And I'm kind of old. So 15 years ago wasn't that long ago. I had a whole life before that. But
Hey,
yeah, but I definitely spent many, many years, 22 years of my career working at the Olympic level in service for the athlete. So definitely in service for sure. Yeah.
so tell
And thank you for having me. Yeah.
you so much for doing this for me. I appreciate it.
You're
So
very welcome.
tell me about what it was like to do that as far as going to the Olympics and all of the excitement
Oh,
and all of the thrills. Because I mean, watching it is one thing, but to actually be a part of it, what was that like?
yeah. It's spectacular. It's almost you can't explain it because it's just so big and so bigger than life. And that's actually what I was born into. I was born into an Olympic family in service for the athletes and the sports that my both my parents were in. They were in different sports, and I just watched them be in service to excellence my whole life. A big part of my childhood, from the 0 to 7 age, was the Montreal Olympic Games and watching my parents both build the foundations from ethics to protocols to um, you know, how you mark and judge. Like my mother was the head judge of Canada for gymnastics for 25 years. So she actually gave Nadia Comaneci in the 76 Olympics the 10 on vault. So that's pretty, like yeah, like a lot of us watched that 76 Olympic Games and watched that 10 happen. That was one of my mother was a part of that. We watched that as children. My sister and I were in the stadium watching that. And so I really was, brought up at an international level on an international platform. So when I met Daniel, it I knew what excellence felt like. I knew what it looked like. I knew the rhythm of it. I knew its frequency. And when I experienced the fixed code, it was instant. It was like I am in the presence of excellence. Like this is this is outstanding. This is graceful. It's beautiful. It's not clunky and messy and stuff. You don't need stuff to do it, that kind of thing. But my journey prior to meeting Daniel was phenomenal. It was exquisite and exciting and all over the world. Whether that was with following my parents around the world because we were kids, and then starting my career at 16 years old. My very first games that I got, paid for, um, I was 16 years old at the Commonwealth Games, and I fell in love with it. And I said to my dad, I want to do this for the rest of my life. And he's like, sweetie, there's no money in sports. Like there's just kind of like no money in this. Like this is about being in service, and because this isn't what my parents did for a living. This is what they did on top of, you know. So my dad was trying to say to me like, oh, please don't, continue this, but there's no, it's not a career. Like there's no money in this. Well, I showed him wrong, and I made a phenomenal career out of it, and I traveled all over the world, and my mentors um, and my teachers were top notch and some of the most amazing people in the world. And they taught me some cool stuff, So, yeah, I've been very blessed with a phenomenal mentors, and Daniel being one of them. Daniel, when I met the Fixed Code, it was Daniel then mentored me into all of this, so that my life changed when I met him. So, yeah,
I like to see Simone and Gabby Douglas and all of them and the fact of everything, how it's changed so much, all of the
Hmm.
different things they've done. And I love the fact that, when Simone, she came back from that depression that, 2 years ago
Yeah,
and
it's
came back
huge.
and won
Yeah.
all of that. And I don't think people understand because I took gymnastics when I was a kid. So
Oh
I
yeah.
that, to be able to do all those triple luts and all of those different things. I tell people, you have to be fearless to do that.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
have no fear to be able to go up in the air and knowing you're gonna
And
land and be safe and you're like, okay. So when you told me about the fixed code, I thought of that in that same aspect because you're letting go of something that is like, you know, it's like a safety net. And then it becomes
hmm
part of you. And then it's like, you're like, okay, I know I can do this, but what if it doesn't work out? Or what if this person doesn't love me? Or,
yeah.
and when it doesn't work out, you're devastated and you have all of these
Yeah.
emotions. And then a lot of people are still holding on to that anger and that frustration of that situation. And even though they moved on physically, they're still connected to that person because of those emotions. So when you met Daniel, how
Yeah.
did he introduce you to this in the first place?
Oh my gosh. So here I am living like a kick-ass life, great money, doing my thing, great guy. I'd been with him almost a decade at this point. I'm in my mid 30s. And there was an event. There was I call it that night, and it changed everything. I lost everything. We lost everything, everything from financial to he lost his health. He got it back, but it took a long time. Um, we lost our marriage in all of this from that night. Everything went sideways on all levels, and I lost my connection to source that night. I fell into a hell that I had never ever I did not know existed. I didn't know how terrifying hell can be. And yeah, and I didn't know what happened, and I had no skills, like zero skills to handle this. Like I was the Nike baby. I was the kid that did it anyway. So what I'm scared, like I was a gymnast myself, a high performance, athlete myself. So like there was no time for fear. There was no time for hesitation. If you hesitate, you're going to get hurt. Like I grew up in all of this. Like I truly was a Nike commercial. So to all of a sudden be in my mid 30s with no skills of like toughing it out, white knuckling it out, doing it anyways, wasn't working. Like I was living in a totally different timeline. And I wanted out. I wanted out of this timeline. Like, how do I get out of this timeline? This is insane. Like, I don't like it here. I don't understand it. I don't understand a word anybody's saying. It was very confusing. And at the time, I didn't know what timelines were. I look back now going, oh, yeah, like I got dumped into a whole other timeline because everybody looked the same, but nobody was the same. Like, everybody was different. And I was so confused, and everybody was just going along with the storyline, and I'm like, oh my god, like none of this is true, none of this is, oh my, that's not how you would answer me, that's not how you look at me, that's not how, what is happening here? um but I didn't know any of it, so just very, very confused. So I lived in silence and kind of like suffered in silence, in terror about, going outside with, just getting in the car with the baby. Is somebody going to hit me and steal the baby? And like, am I at the grocery store and I'm going to get attacked? Like, it was, that night changed me at a fundamental level. It cracked me in a way that I didn't know how to put myself back together. And yet I was holding myself together on just sheer wit, like just grit. And but nobody knew. Not like nobody knew what I was going through at all because I didn't even really tell people about that night, except for the people that were involved. But we were in another country when it happened. So when we came home, not a lot of people even knew about it. So I didn't want to talk about it. Like I'm not a talk therapy girl, not even a little bit. So um, I did not do that. Um, and so I just suffered kind of in silence and just white knuckled it the whole time. And the last thing for me that happened, that just like the bottom fell out and I just couldn't hang on, kind of like, hanging on to the sides. and was when my marriage did we finally got separated. And for me, it kind of came out of nowhere, even though logically it was all there the whole time. But I just never thought it would happen. And I never even actually thought of it. I never once thought about we were going to get separated, or none of it. Never even crossed my mind, because the person I was in love with in the other timeline was like my forever guy. My like we had a beautiful, big, gorgeous life. So to ever think it was going to dissolve was crazy making. Like they didn't even make sense. So again, not actually nothing made sense. So now this is happening. I'm getting separated. And that was the last thing for me. The bottom fell out. And at the time I owned a gymnastics club for little kids. And one of my coach's moms came into my office, and of course I was crying. I think I was like 5 days into my separation at this point, and again telling nobody. And this one of the moms came into my office, kind of knocked, and caught me crying, and she's like, "Hey, sweetie, like you do so much for so many people on a daily basis. We don't know what's going on, but we know you're not okay. And just so you know, I met up with this high school friend of mine at this trade show last weekend. He's doing this kind of woohoo thing, but I tried it and it was incredible." She's like, "So I made you an appointment on Friday. I hope that's okay." So I said, "Thank you. That's very kind, like very, very kind." And the next thing I know, I'm getting up 2 mornings later and I had hope. I was like, "Oh my gosh." And I said to myself, if this works, if this guy gives me toad pee and it works, I'm drinking toad pee. I'm doing it. Like I need to feel better. I need something, because I don't drink alcohol and I don't do any kind of medication. Like I at the time I had, most things that people grab to numb themselves or to cope or whatever, I don't do. So this was again like just white knuckling it all. And um and I have a 5-year-old at the time. Like I'm having to do all of this with a 5 year. Well, he was little the whole time, but so when I walked into this appointment on this Friday morning, again, if he was going to make me drink Topi, I would have done it. I walked in, and when I saw this gentleman standing in front of me, my first words were very bizarre. I went, "Oh my gosh, you're real." I had seen him in my visions my entire life. He was like an elder to me. He was an advisor. He was somebody that I spoke to in that spirit space that guided me. It was just so I couldn't believe it. Like it was just like, "Oh, you're real." Anyways, he saw the same thing in me. Like it was a very instant energetic connection. Automatic. Like we'd been looking for each other forever, kind of thing. Like, oh my God. And but then he could feel how sad I was, and he started to well up. His eyes started to well up, and then I started to well up. I'm like, "Don't cry. This is not waterproof mascara. And like, I'm not crying today. I promised myself I am not crying today." Anyways, I'm now crying. I sat down, and he asked me if I was sad, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm very sad." He asked me the magic question, which is I asked you the magic question, and we did the work with you. He asked me the magic question, which is the biggest problem you have in your life right now. When you think about it, how does it make you feel? If you could put it in 1 or 2 words, what would it be? And I said, "Sad." And I was very sad, and I was crying. And he did the work with me. And it takes a couple of minutes, as you've experienced. And the next thing I know, I'm now sitting there 4 or 5 minutes later. I opened my eyes and I couldn't feel sad. The same way that you couldn't feel that feeling that we did the work with you. It's like it's gone. So I then said about 20 swear words rapid fire, like like what just happened? And then I said to him, "Oh my gosh, like that was pure excellence. That was the most spiritual, beautiful, grounding, magical, incredible experience I've ever had." Like, wow. I was really astonished because I know what excellence looks like. I know what it feels like. And this is it. Like, I experienced it in the technique as you did. And when I woke up, well, not when I woke up, when I opened my eyes after my little swearing kind of rapid fire thing, and then just the presence of it, I said to him, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to figure out what you just did and I'm going to teach the world how to do this. And he's like, I don't know about that. Now remember, we don't even know each other's names yet. And I'm already telling him like, I'm going to figure out what you just did. And I'm going to teach the world how to do this. And he was like, oh my, like, who are you? Like, oh gosh, like, the little Spitfire here. And I just said to him, let's make a deal. You keep healing me. You keep doing this to me, and I will put everybody I know in front of you. And I spent the next 4 years putting everybody I knew in front of them. And it was like my black book from all over the world. And every person that tried it was like, Stacey, this guy's good. Like, this is really good. I'm like, right? Like, it's not just me. It's this works, right? And they're like, it worked. This is incredible. So again, it was like my networking system, my networking friends and mentors and people I trust with my life were all saying to me, no, like Stacey, this is the real deal. This is it. So Daniel and I not only started our journey. I mean, we started our journey almost right away, but it just kept growing and growing, and I kept growing, and I kept feeling better and reinventing myself all the time because I'm now not married. I'm now, not all of these other things that I was when I had the trauma. So it was reinventing myself as a woman in my 40s. Um, a mom that's doing this kind of, on my own. Like I had to keep reinventing myself. And Daniel supported all that and really, really helped me through all of the transitions. And and then it was time for me to learn this because I said, hey, this is not my gate. Like this is not my area of expertise at all. Like I'm a logistics girl. I'm an ops girl. I'm in a jeans t-shirt in the background with a big microphone, looking for the trucks. I'm that girl. And systems, building systems. How are people going to move through buildings? Like so this was not my field at all. But I fell in love with it because it's so who I am by nature. And I was able to do all of my stuff that I did with the Olympic Games, which is taking a very complex problem or complex system and turning it into something that everybody can use and everybody can enjoy and participate in and experience, which is exactly was my job with the Olympics. It's exactly what I did. I took complex problems and turned them into an individual experience that was smooth, effortless, right? So that's what we did with the fixed code. And again, when I met Daniel, we had no name for it. It didn't have a name for about 4 or 5 years. Like it was hilarious. Like, nope, we didn't know what to do with it. We didn't know what to call it. So we really are kind of grassroots in that way. Everything was built out of our living rooms or my kitchen counter or, phone calls in the car. Like it's very grassroots. It's Dana and I, where he's the science and the creator of it. And then I saw the genius in it and in him and said, can we have fun with this? Can we like share this with the world, please? So I did my thing. I turned it into an online training. No, actually, first, I said to him, which was a really funny day, as I said, all right, Dan, if I can learn this, like, let's see if we can do this. If I can learn this, anybody can learn this because, like, this is not my thing. And he's like, you know what? This is gonna be interesting because you know nothing. I'm like, I know nothing. I come to this with no background in that I don't know other modalities. I have no clue what a modality is, kind of thing. I'm, as a gymnast, yes, we did acupuncture, we did physiotherapy, we did all those kinds of things. We course meditated, we did, visualization, we did all those things. But as an adult, I wasn't like studying other modalities at all. This was not my platform of even interest. So next thing I know, he's teaching me how to do this. And the next thing I know, I said to my girlfriend, okay, can I try this on you? And she's like, let's do it. Because she knew Daniel, like she had done lots of sessions with Daniel. So it wasn't like cold turkey. I wasn't starting at the total beginning. So when I did it with her, she opened her eyes, she's like, oh, you're going to be good at this. Oh, you're going to be really good at this. And I'm like, you think so? Okay, I don't know. You're like, oh, like, are you sure? So I started to do it with some friends, and they're like, yeah, Stacey, like, you're kind of good at this. So then one of those girlfriends said, I'm going to invite some strangers over because now you got to get your feet wet with strangers. I'm like, oh, no, no, no. So she invited some strangers over, and I did it that evening. kind of like, like a Tupperware party, or, like a Mary Kay party. Like they were all just sitting in the chairs and everybody was having tea and cookies and the whole thing. And I did it with them, and they all felt amazing. And then my girlfriend said, okay, and that would be $70 each person. And I was like, oh no, no, oh no, 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 I don't mean, and she's like, you are taking money for this. I'm like, okay. So next thing I know, those 5 women are now telling 5 of their friends, and going through my one friend, and my one friend is now going, do you have a 2 o'clock available? Do you have a 3 o'clock available? Do you have a 4? And I'm like, oh, I am now booked. I've got 20 new clients, and it never stopped. It was so much fun. And so now we knew, oh my gosh, we can do this. We can teach this. Daniel, you just taught me how to do this. And now I'll just figure out how to create, how to teach the next person. So of course, many of my clients now, and I had my own practice for about 2 years, like that was really thriving in studying this. Like, what do I need to know to learn this? What is intuitive? What is not? Like I really had to figure out what people are going to want to know and learn to be able to do this. I was having a blast, absolutely having a blast. And then one of my now dearest friends in the whole wide world, we've been friends for about 13 years now, she became a client. And then she was with me for about 6 or 7 months. I worked with all of her kids. She's got 5 kids, and she's like, I got to learn this. Now she knows every modality out there. She's amazing at it. And she has her own thriving private practice. And she said to me in this session, she said, you got to teach me how to do this, Stacey. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, is this something you'd want to learn? And she looked at me like, are you kidding me? Yeah, I want to learn this. I said, okay, well, actually, Daniel's coming in about 10 minutes, like at the end of your session. Daniel's coming here. We're gonna do some work. And I said, would you like to meet him? And you can ask him. And she's like, so she met Daniel, and she actually he knocked, and I opened the door, and she just she just barreled right by me and threw her arms around him, and Daniel was standing there looking at me going, who is this? And I'm like, it's good, just keep hugging her, we're good. Yeah, it was great. And she's one of my closest friends now. We've been friends forever. And so she said to him, please teach me how to do this. And then so he looked at me and said, all right, Stace. And we were 5 years in at this point. Like, this didn't happen overnight. We were 5 years in. And he said, okay, I think we're doing it. I'm like, oh, okay, we're doing it. And now I have to figure out syllabus. How are we doing it? And again, I had the time of my life figuring out the syllabus. What do people need to do? How do we do this? And we opened it up. I opened it up to all my clients. And I don't think it was open for 2 hours. Like the text went out, and Daniel and I said 25 people. That's, because we don't really know what we're doing. And we don't want to look like a fool in front of like hundreds of people. So let's just say 25, we're good. And it was totally full within like 2 hours. Every one of my clients wanted this. So we taught them in a live event, and by Sunday they were doing it.
Wow.
Like everybody in the room was doing it, and we couldn't believe it. So then we said, okay, let's turn this into a certification. So again, very grassroots, because it's very authentic. Like everything we've done is like, okay, let's do that. Let's do that, because it's a real, So that was now 10 years ago that we started the trainings. And then a lot of the women in the room said, we can't keep traveling for the trainings. Is there any way that you can do like an online training? And I'm like, what's an online training? I have no idea what that is. Like, what? This was 10 years ago. So I thought I was pretty ahead of the game, because nobody could tell me what an online course was. There wasn't a lot of them. There was like Tony Robbins, who has, a staff of 4,000. The big guys had these online courses, but okay. So I just step by stepped it and just kind of kept figuring out how to do this online course. And we did it. So it's just been fun. And then we went into business and, with sales funnels, and did all the business stuff. And I was sharing this with you yesterday. We were having a good laugh about it. It's like, yeah. And now I'm like past all of that. And I am not in it for the game. I'm not in it for the points on the board anymore. I'm in it for the love of the game. And I am just having a blast sharing, meeting amazing people, having amazing conversations, and really just letting people know about how much fun this is and how, again, like, reinventing myself again, where for 10 years I head down just business, business, business. And, how do we do this? How do we do that? Constantly building new websites, new images, new this, new logos, like just constant, which so many coaches and practitioners are in. Like, is it my website that's not working? Is my call to action not working? I've done it all. I have done it all. I have the gray hair to prove it. And I just feel like life is too short for me to sit in a sales page. And, you know, I feel like we're at the spot now where it's time to talk. It's time to meet each other face to face. It's time to get to know each other. It's time to like heal like this,
Yeah.
in a form of conversation. And I'm just so blessed and grateful that you've opened up a chair for me today, with you and your guests, because I feel very honored. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you as well. But what I love was when you told me when you did it with your son and all of his friends. And
Oh
now
yeah.
incorporate that. So how did that even start? Where I know you said you started with your son and then he started
Mhm.
doing with other people, and now they're coming to your house and saying, "Can you help me with this? Can you help me work
Oh
this and release this?"
yeah. Oh, it's so cool. So Ashton was 5 when he met the fixed code, um, and I did it with Ashton right away. I just kind of copied what Dan did, but I didn't know why I was doing it or why it worked or any of those things. But I wasn't doing it with any other kids at this point until Daniel actually taught me. But my son and I, like, I did this with him. And um, the first one was he came in the door from school. He was 5, maybe 6, maybe, sorry, 6, grade 1. He came in from school and he had that face, like the world is it was a hard day, mommy, like a hard day. And I'm like, oh, dude. And we always had our best conversations on the first step, of the staircase going upstairs. That was where the, front hall staircase holding. So we always kind of plunked there and had our little chat. So here we were, and he's like, mommy, I feel bullied. Like I don't like this. I feel bullied. And I'm like, oh, dude. And then I thought to myself, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Like, why would I not do it? And I did it. And he opened his eye. He did it. He opened his eyes and he looked at me and he goes, well, I don't feel that anymore. And I'm like, for real? Like, for real, you don't? He's like, nope. And off he went. And I just sat on our little stair, our little like special magic chair, magic step, and just kind of wept, going, oh my gosh. And then the next one I did with my son's very spiritual, very connected to the Pleiadian galaxy, the sister stars. Um, that he actually told me he was Pleiadian. I don't know if any of your listeners go down those rabbit holes or whatever, but yeah, he told me when he was 3 years old he was Pleiadian. So get on board, mom.
Oh
Okay.
my.
Yeah. Um, and so he's very connected to the star system. And one day he sat down on the step, and I said, "What's going on, buddy?" And he said, "I'm longing to go home." And I was like, "Oh." Like I could feel it, the way that the frequency of the word that he said, it was like so powerful. It just like rattled me. I can still feel it. Like it was such a deep longing. And I always knew that he kind of felt sad, like I couldn't put almost like melancholy, but not really, but it was always kind of there. Anyways, I did this longing to go home. Oh my gosh, it lit him up. It changed him fundamentally because that melancholy was gone. That kind of layer of sad was gone. And then it just kind of got going because, Daniel was now teaching me how to do this. So I felt very confident now having fun with the kids. And when they learned about the magic, again, I had the gymnastics club all through this. So like the kids knew about the magic. So they asked for magic. Kids would come if they were at the gym and they were in class and they felt something, they would always say, Miss Stacey, can I get some magic? I'm like, yep. So we would just sit down, crisscross applesauce, and I get them to close their eyes and I would ask them the magic question. They would tell me what was going, like the word that was going on with them, and we would release it and poof, Now, the reason I could do all of this was because all of their mothers were Daniel's clients. So
Oh,
everybody knew what was going on. Yeah, yeah. So
okay.
everybody, yeah. So it wasn't like I was doing something to the kids that the moms didn't know about. They were like, yeah, like this is awesome.
It worked
Can I send my
for
husband?
me,
You
and
know,
it worked for them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And they were like, can we send our husbands? How do we get your our husbands to you? um, and Daniel's office, working office, was out of my gymnastics club. So moms would come to the gym, to my office to meet with Daniel for those sessions. So again, it was like very organic, very, again, grassroots. We were just helping people. So, but then as the kids got older, because they all know about the magic, so now we're at baseball games and a kid is like, Miss Stacy, I need embarrassed done when I get off the field. I'm like, okay. So like I'm doing these extractions as the kids are coming off the bench, or if a kid was afraid of getting hit by the ball or getting struck out, or whatever was going on with these kids. Um, and they were just like, Miss Stacy, Miss Stacy. And it just kept going. So now these kids are in, senior public and, grade 6, 7, and 8, and they're still asking me to do this because again, I'm at the ball field every weekend, or we're going away for tournaments. So everybody at the campfire is like, okay, Miss Stacy, like, can you do this on my mom because she feels this way? And I'm like, if your mom's okay with it, like I'll do it with anybody. And then as the kids became teenagers, they they all knew how to do it. So they supported each other. There was always like a big circle going on in the living room where the Friday nights was the magic question, not out, getting in trouble. Or I was telling you a story about the skate park. One of the kids was like, "Oh, I feel like I'm gonna fall. Like I'm almost afraid I'm gonna fall. Like I can't. I'm not even having fun anymore because I'm afraid I'm gonna fall and hurt myself." So Ashton kind of stopped and went, "Wait a minute," and asked, "Can you think of anything in your past that when you think about it makes you afraid of falling and getting hurt?" And the kid was like, "I just said that. Yeah, yeah, I do. I am." And so there he went. He like did the extraction, um, and the kid was like, "Rock on!" And yeah, and they had a great day. Everything from homesick to feeling hurt. All the kids at high school had my phone number on speed dial, and if they were out at a party or something was going on and somebody's feelings were hurt, or somebody broke up with somebody or whatever it was, they could just text me and say, like, I'm not okay. And I'm like, okay, find somewhere that you can put your earbuds in and let's chat for a minute. And I would find out the emotion that was going on with them, that was they weren't okay. And whatever, I would ask the magic question, and whatever they would say is what we do. And within 5 minutes, they were totally fine. So this was about emotional mental health. Like this technique, even though we don't like talk about it in the mental health realm, this is massive in the mental health realm because you don't feel awful. You even like that feeling of not belonging. What a horrible feeling, especially through high school, right? Well, it's 5 minutes in our world. And then you never think of it again because you can't feel it. So you don't think about it. It's just gone. So belief systems that were created in those horrible feelings disappear. Fears that were created out of that illogical moment, gone. Whatever. Because fears are like you're making it up. You're taking a past memory and making it into a future memory and putting it in front of you. So you can't move forward. That's why people are stuck. They're afraid of something. So in the fixed code, I say to them, so you're making pictures of the future going wrong? And they're like, yep. And I'm like, okay, when you see those pictures, you're afraid of what? And they're like, poof, whatever it is. And that's the work we do. Which again, like I love that you tried this because you know what I'm talking about when I say all of this stuff. Yeah. So
Yes.
it's exciting. So if I were actually, if I'd love to invite all of your listeners to go to our website, and you're going to see a little phone with, like a little pink phone. There, just put your name and address in there, or email address. Click over, fill out the questionnaire, and then you get popped over. It says book here or book now or something. Click the button and move over to the practitioner page. So we have practitioners that pay it forward, which is part of who we are, and it's a complimentary 15-minute session. So you can absolutely try this technique, like Letitia has, or stuff, yeah, and it's incredible.
I
It's just absolutely,
I loved it.
yeah.
And I
Uh,
love the fact when you asked me what I was feeling. what was the thing that was holding me back? I said, stuck. And then you made me go more in detail to what was the root cause of that stuck. And I said, rejection. And you said, we're gonna relinquish that. And you took me back to two places. And I could literally see that first time that it ever happened. So it wasn't
Yep.
that moment, it was when it first
The
happened,
root cause.
the root
The
cause
root cause. Yeah.
years ago. And so when you told me to go forward, so first it was going backwards, sitting there for a minute, going back to birth, and then going to that moment, and then going back to when my mother had me. Then you said,
Yeah.
I want you to keep your eyes closed until you get here. I want you to just think of every single moment that you were rejected, every single moment you felt stuck. It was like on both sides of me, I could see each situation happening. But even though it was going in light speed, it was still slow enough for me to understand it. And then when
That's right.
I woke up, I said, when I opened my eyes, I said, "Oh my God, I feel like I can do anything, like not just the rejection, but the fear and every word associated with that one word." And I think that's the thing about it. It doesn't just eliminate one word. It
Nope.
eliminates everything associated with rejection, everything associated with
Yeah.
stuck. And that
Yeah.
was the amazing
Yeah.
thing for me. And then after I got off with you, I just broke down crying because that was the last stage of it. Because after it was relinquished, the last thing was crying because you're letting it go as far as through the
Yep.
tears. And
That's right.
I said, oh my God. And then it's like I
Yeah.
just felt so different after that day. And it just made me prepare for that. Now it's like, okay, if I get stuck, I'm like, I got this. I can do this. I got through all of this. I've been through all this rejection and now I'm here. And I said I had to
That's right.
for that because it helped me. So when I tell you guys it works, it does because you can do this anytime. And the thing I love about it is when you have people like you said, when your son said, I want to go home, and I know what you meant by that. There are millions of people that are losing their lives because of that. So to be
I
able
know.
to say to them, okay, what are you feeling? For a parent to say,
Yep.
what are you feeling? How can we relinquish this? How can we
That's right.
everything that's associated with that bullying? Give me words that describe that what you're feeling when you're being bullied. And we're going to
I
relinquish
know.
all of that in one moment, not just one at a time. That
No.
that main core thing that brings all of those words together. And I love that. I do.
I know. And one of the things that I mean, I love it. I love 10,000 things about this technique and the life that I get to lead and all the people that I get to meet. But that this is not talk therapy. There is almost zero talking because I was able to help you through the magic question. And I'll share the magic question with everybody so you can feel it. Biggest problem you have in your life right now, when you think about it, how does it make you feel? If you could put it in one or two words, what would it be? You said yesterday, stuck. And then when I said, okay, so you're stuck, so you can't move forward, you're afraid of what? And you're like, rejection. Bam. Okay. That is how long it took us to find what was wrong. We did not need 8 years of talk therapy to find out what was actually causing you to stay stuck. Not only did it take us 5 seconds to find out what actually was keeping you stuck, it took us 3 minutes to solve the problem, not another 10 years in talk therapy. So when you meet one of our practitioners, and when you meet one of us, your your platform, your guests don't have to reveal anything about their lives or why they're feeling that way because none of it matters. It doesn't solve the problem. If I know more, it doesn't give me any more information. What I need to know is what this thing is called that's causing so much problems for you. And for you, it was fear of rejection, right? My son was feeling bullied that day. And then it was the longing to go home. And his heart was just like, oh. And though just those two changes, like now imagine doing this with a teenager, 16-year-old boy, anger, hurt, betrayed, frustrated, annoyed. Like I just got teenager years in one afternoon. I conquered teenager years. you know, so if you've got a girl that hurt, that feeling left out, like all of those kinds of things, this is I love our parenting program where parents who they don't want to become practitioners, they're not interested in learning this, to open businesses or anything like that. They just want to learn this to be able to help the people that they love. That's how I started this. That's what I wanted to do. And that's kind of what I'm back to is all of the other stuff is in place, all of the real structure and the people that want to learn this to turn this into to add it to their businesses, that's all there. But it's like I'm coming back to my heart space, which is I want to help people that at the grassroots level because the other stuff's all there. Like, the people that want to help people in business and all that's all designed already. That's all done. I want to come back to that part
Uh-oh.
of the space.
In and out. Oh, your thing's going in and out. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay. Can you say
So
something?
it's coming back of
Okay, I can hear you now, but your screen is frozen though. Give me 1 second. Oh,
to
okay, I can hear you now.
hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, give me a second.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
can hear you now. Go ahead.
Uh, okay. So it's like
Hey, 1 second.
very